We've got a comment here from Lewis saying, you know, the Luton fans singing "Feed the Scousers" while living in one of the most deprived areas in the country was almost laughable. There's also the tragedy chanting. I know Jamie Carragher called that out. Yeah. Henry Winter, I think, has also called it out this morning. Like, it's grim. It is grim, and no matter what people say about it, either or. And sometimes you get this with teams who come up and like they've heard other teams sing it, so they think it's the done thing and all that. But like, Jamie Carragher put it right. Football fans as a collective need to be better than that. Like, anyone who sings about tragedies or poverty in 2023, it was pretty grim from Luton supporters, to be fair.
Oh yeah, it's abhorrent. It really is. It's horrendous. And I did our preview actually midweek with a Luton fan, obviously, and he kind of alluded to it. I didn't really pick up on it at the time. He alluded to the fact he hoped it didn't happen. Basically, was what he said. He said, I mean, obviously he was going to the game. He said, I really hope I don't hear any sort of unnecessary chanting. It just kind of went along with the conversation. But now looking back, I go, that's clearly what he's referring to. I don't know whether he had sort of an inclination it might happen, but as you mentioned, in this day and age, and with what's going on in the world, let alone Luton or Liverpool, what's going on in the world is just absolutely disgusting. It's vile, and it's just cheap point scoring from the stands, and I'll never understand it, ever understand it. We see it obviously and hear it every single time anyone comes to Anfield, but I must admit, like you mentioned sort of coming up there, whether that is a factor, like you say, they have heard it done before and you think, oh, that seems like fun, let's do that. That felt like, obviously through the TV, that felt like one of the worst I've encountered, because it was sort of one after another, like a real
Eating away is the worst.
Where is?
Eating away. They really mean it.
Really, yeah.
Oh, it's a joke.
Eating away?
Eating as in...
The posh place.
Yeah, the
school.
Posh place, yeah.
What I'd say on that is, maybe you get that, like, with all due respect, and like Luton isn't exactly like thrive all the time.
Yeah, but whatever, no one should do it.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. That's the point. It doesn't matter what you think. It's kind of my point is that, Chris, I'll come to you, the poverty stuff again. Always the victims. It's abhorrent. It's awful, and it should be banned out. Even the Feed the Scousers thing now, it's like the whole country's on its arse a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, poverty's never been higher than it has now for a long time. It is like Dan said, it's cheap point scoring, but it's also really callous and awful. Like, you could just laugh it off and go, oh, it's just banter, blah, 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 but also, it's not. You know what I mean? It wasn't great.
Yeah, everyone just needs to do better in that regard, don't they? I mean, you know, you get it up and down the length and breadth of the country, wherever you've gone, however how many away games you've been to, I've always heard it, you know what I mean? You'll have heard it loads over the last couple of years. It happens, people are knobheads, just, it's education that's needed for people to understand that it is everywhere, and it's not cheap point scoring. It is abhorrent, the right word. It's the only word I think that you can use to describe it. It's disgusting. People need to be better.
Yeah, Carragher, fair play to this Carragher and all these media, because so often we've all sat here, Chloe, and gone, why isn't no one talking about this? We can all hear this. You've been in stadiums and heard it as loud as anyone over the last year or so. I thought it was, again, maybe it's Jamie Carragher's a Scouser and he gets the connection also, but it has been, you know, a few different, I think Miguel Delaney put out as well on his The Athletic wrote something this morning. It does feel like there's a bit of momentum towards rightly criticising this, because for a while it has kind of felt like we were the only ones here. It's like, is anyone else listening to this? Because we can hear this. It feels like now there is a shift towards people actually pointing out how wrong it is.
I don't know, it might just be because it's Luton and you're not ruffling as many feathers, because when I was at City it was absolutely awful, and Jamie Carragher was on comms that day and just decided to ignore it that day as well. Nothing was spoke about it. Manchester City put out a statement. Pep Guardiola basically denied that anyone inside that stadium had said it, and it just felt like, well, the best thing to do here is ignore it, because at least there's not going to create a whirlwind, and I'm not at the front of that, because this is Luton, and no, with all due respect, no one gives a damn. If it was Manchester City, you know, they're probably going to win the quad this season. Like, they're going to be on newspapers everywhere. The forefront. They are literally the best team. Yes, they're the best team in the world. I hope it's not because it was just easy to basically criticise Luton. But yeah, let's keep calling it out. Don't call it out this game and not call it out the next game, because I mean, I hear it near every week. And if I can hear it and you just can all hear it through the TV, it's mad that, you know, commentators only choose when to pick it out. Well done to him for picking it out, and well done to other journalists for jumping on and also, you know, calling it out. But let's do it consistently. Let's make sure it's constantly at the front of the minds of every single person in the sporting world. And let's say something actually happens, repercussions happens to Luton fans, because it wasn't just a group of people singing that, it was a lot of people. It wasn't the individual.
I just never understand why you don't just sing about your own team.
Exactly.
No, exactly.
That's the thing that baffles me.
Yeah. And they should be on a day like that, especially yesterday. Holding, beating Liverpool for a period of time. That's the dream come true. They were in the National League 6 years ago. That is absolutely everything. They should be so proud of what they were doing, but instead they choose that moment to sing about Liverpool and Scousers. It's just laughable.
Wild.
There's more food banks in the UK than there is Mackey's, and that is a bit hard to believe.
Let's celebrate the fact.
The fact that we're all celebrating, that's just a bit vile as well. So let's just cut that out.
And especially after, like, you know, we're not that far removed from Nottingham Forest fans come with a big banner
We're brilliant.
and tragedy chanting and all that
last
type
season,
of stuff. And
they were singing it to us, but that's the difference. That's what happens when people call it out. There's more recognition of it. Last season away at their ground, we were subjected to it, and once again, no one called it out. I think the only person who called it out was the likes of Neil Jones and that, who were inside the stadium and could hear it. And thankfully, they've actually made a stance this season at Anfield, which is brilliant.
You need to self-police as fans, don't you? And that's
listen,
what it comes down to.
Exactly, Liverpool fans, like, I always get it. 'Cause I hate talking about it online because it just becomes a tit for tat thing, Chris. But, like, you always say, well, you guys have sang about Munich in the past. And, like, Liverpool fans have absolutely sang about Munich in the past, but it's been self-policed out now. It just wouldn't happen. If I'm on the cop and I started singing songs about Munich, someone would rightly put me in my place. They kick me out the ground, I get a slap around the head, or someone will tell me to shut the fuck up, basically. It feels like Forest fans have done that, and they've kind of self-policed it. Again, hopefully other fans can take note, because especially in the winter, the Feed the Scousers Christmas song comes out, and it isn't great. But you're right, I think as much as calling it out's good, all that calling out needs to do is make someone think themselves, should I be singing this song? And if everyone thinks that, the answer will then be no, and then no one will sing it. But it feels like we're a long way off, unfortunately, from that.
Yeah, we are. I don't know, man. I've always found it really hard to talk about, because I can't put myself in a position where I do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't compute with me. It's not something that I've done. You know, I have sung songs about Manchester United when I was a young kid, and I've been told otherwise, and I realised the mistakes that I've made, and, you know, I've never do that again and stuff. And, you know, I've spoken about it 1,000 times on this channel when I've said things that have been that have harmed other people and stuff, and you grow up and you make a mistake. But this stuff is like, it's not just a country-wide thing, it's a worldwide thing at the moment. Like, it's what is, do you think it's actually funny that people can't have enough food?
It's mad.
Do you really? And you think you want a group mentality thing and sing about it? Yeah, lads, we're having a little sing-along. Do you want to come and sing about these people who are dying over in Africa? No, you don't, because it's fucking weird. Why are you doing it in a football stadium?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when people only call it out once, and this was the problem with the likes of City, because City didn't take any... They basically turned around and was like, okay, but it's not us. See you later. Did it really happen? That's what you kind of felt City were doing, especially Pep Guardiola. And once you do that, it then seems, oh my God, it is banter, because no one's took responsibility for this. No one's came out and said, this is really bad, this. And that's what happens when it only gets brought to the mind of someone once, and people see a set of fans singing it. Jamie Carragher coming out and talking about it's really good, but unless anything actually happens, people will just know, hey, it's wound Jamie Carragher up, it's wound their fans up, look at this, let's do it again. And that's the problem. Until we actually consistently cut it out and call it out, it'll just be let's all jump on the bandwagon because it's annoyed them, it's pissed them off, it's got them angry, and it's banter. And that is the problem when you choose and pick when to call it out.
Fingers crossed that it stops. Keep calling it out is the best thing.